Stay savage, your boy ShinoBeenTrill. What's poppin'? Today we are back, and guess what? We are back with a video. This time we're gonna be talking about the Jougan and its potential abilities. We're gonna talk about the Jougan and a little bit of this theory that I saw from a viewer. You know, it's a theory that's on Reddit and shit like that, so I'll leave that link in the description below. And essentially what it's talking about is like how the Jougan basically cooperates and lives hand in hand with the Karma Seals, and basically like how these two, you know, feed off each other, and without these two things, you know, Boruto is gonna struggle. And basically how the Jougan complements the Karma Seal and the abilities that it has. So these are personal opinions and speculations, but this is a well put together theory that a lot of people deem as spoilers. And you know, in the theory there are a bit of spoilers regarding like the Karma Seal and stuff like that, stuff from the manga. But if you're watching the completed Jougan video, then obviously you probably know a lot about the Karma Seal, and you know about what's to come for the future of Boruto in terms of Kashin Koji and Nakara. So if you guys are excited about today's video, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for daily content. With that being said, let's get it.
All of these people, they down to ride. Look in my eyes. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Now, before we get into this, heavily invested in talking about the completion of the Jougan, because I do believe that the Jougan is not completed. I feel like it's immature. It's almost like a premature thing that has to mature a little bit more inside of Boruto, and once it matures a lot to the point where it's called the completed Jougan, you know, Boruto is going to have control and complete mastery over this ability while being able to access a whole bunch of new abilities that has like special features dedicated to the Jougan. It's like the Rinnegan. You know how the Rinnegan has special things that only the Rinnegan can do, like, you know, it can decipher codes, it can put people on the genjutsu for a really long time, it can see people even though like the person is being paralyzed. If you guys remember when Sasuke was paralyzed, you know, in that moment when Momoshiki was talking to Boruto, Sasuke can still see Momoshiki regardless of him being able to actually move and shit like that due to him having the Rinnegan. On top of that, it gives him the abilities of universal pull, planetary devastation, and shit like that, right? So what we know about the Jougan so far, we know about the Jougan and how it can open up portals. It shot out lightning release when Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sumire was basically getting into this argument, and they were having this big ass clash during the New Way arc. We saw, like, you know, it emanate this lightning release and push those two back, kind of reflecting them. And then you saw when Sumire tried to back off and retreat, and you know, she was really trying to dip completely off the scene and shit like that. You saw that the Jougan opened up a portal to the world of the New Way. So that was something that was completely unique. That was something different that we saw within the Jougan, because when we first saw the Jougan, the only thing we knew about it was that it could read chakra, that it can find different types of chakra, and it basically had like a lot of odd chakra going around at the time in the academy, and then Boruto was the only one able to see it due to him having the Jougan. So this was like a subconscious ability that Boruto didn't know he had. So like once he learns how to do it, once he masters it, I do believe that at that point it'll be considered the completed Jougan. But I feel like there's a bunch of steps and requirements in order to achieve that. So one thing that I want to talk about before we get into this Reddit topic completely, I noted before when I read it initially, and they essentially talks about how the Karma Seal may go hand in hand with the Jougan, and they talk about how these two will complement each other in the future, and how these two will aid each other in order for Boruto to completely be able to access the powers of the Karma Seal as well as the Jougan. He needs both of them, because like one thing that I see with the Jougan is like it constantly pops up at random, and it doesn't seem like Boruto have complete control over it. But also we see with the Karma Seal gives him the abilities of Otsutsuki members that previously, you know, passed on the powers to him. Now what we know about that so far is we know that he has the ability to absorb ninjutsu, which we saw him basically taking the flames off of Konohamaru Sensei, and you know, basically protecting Konohamaru Sensei from completely burning up. Now with that, a lot of people like to say the reason why Boruto passed out was due to the fact that, you know, he was tired or that the seal took too much out of him. But I don't honestly think it was the fact that the seal usually takes a lot of energy out of him. I do know a lot of people like to refer to Sasuke in terms of the curse mark and talk about how when Sasuke used the curse mark for the first time, he passed out due to the fact that he used too much of his chakra and that he used too much of his power. But I don't necessarily think that the Karma Seal was like that. I think the reason why Boruto passed out after using the Karma Seal was due to the fact that he was getting a chakra overload. And what I mean by that is, if you guys remember, this has the ability of Momoshiki, you know, this has the ability to absorb ninjutsu, and that's something that we saw Boruto do when he took in the flames, you know, from Kashin Koji, which is a very strong ninja. We see that Kashin Koji is on top of, like, you know, the Kara. He's part of the inner Kara, and you can't just make it in the inner Kara being a weak little bitch. And on top of that, he was able to kill the elder. So once he absorbed that chakra, I feel like Boruto's body wasn't used to taking in that much chakra at one time from an outer substance. You know, it wasn't like a sage mode substance, but it was like a direct outer ninjutsu that somebody else used. And on top of that, you know, once Momoshiki took in that power, he was able to redistribute it. I feel as though Boruto took in that power, and on top of him not redistributing it, his body took that chakra in, and it kind of made him like overload, almost like if a battery gets too much energy, it explodes, or if, like, you know, like a balloon gets too much steam in it or too much air in it, it pops. So I feel like that's what happened with Boruto, and he kind of fainted and passed out. And like, the whole point of what I'm saying with this is, I feel as though that the Jougan will be something that takes a lot of chakra, takes a lot of power, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be something that takes a lot of reserves. And you guys know that Naruto is a part of the Uzumaki clan, somebody who has high chakra reserves, so that makes Boruto a person that works hand in hand with that clan as well, because, you know, he is a Uzumaki as well. Now, don't get me wrong, he does have his abilities coming from, you know, the Hyuga clan and stuff like that. We saw when he did the Gentle Palm Rasengan, when he subconsciously added wind style to that. On top of that, he was like training with Hanabi, and Hanabi seems to be teaching him a little different things and stuff like that. And you guys can see that Boruto does have like this kind of palm style, but mixing it in with his own style, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say this is because, you know, like, they got the abilities like the Rinnegan, the Sharingan, and stuff like that. And those all take like an extremely high toll on the users. Like, people that don't have KK Genkai bloodline for that type of KK Genkai, they usually won't be able to use it to like the maximum potential. We saw that with Kakashi. Kakashi got really tired from using the Sharingan. Now, obviously, the Jougan is something that Boruto had. You know, this is something Boruto was born with. It seems as if Toneri had a hand in giving Boruto some type of aid or helping him manifest it in terms of his words. He may have implanted something in Boruto early on, or him visiting him basically was giving him insight, hey, you have this power and shit like that. But at the same token, I feel as though, you know, Boruto's body isn't really physically ready for that, and the Karma Seal is going to be something that helps him, you know, mature it a lot faster. And the reason why I'm saying that his body isn't physically ready, if you guys look at Sarada, they talk about how strong Sarada is, and they talk about how well put together she is, and talk about her as a character, and talk about all her skills and stuff like that. But her biggest like downfall is the fact that she doesn't have enough stamina, you know, that she gets really weak after using the Sharingan. Like, when she uses the Sharingan, her stamina runs low. And a lot of people like to argue that, you know, even though her mama is Sakura, and Sakura has so much chakra control, and she had a lot of chakra reserves because she had 1,000 healing technique, and she knew how to do all these different things regarding chakra points. But if you look at Sarada early on, Sarada doesn't have the abilities or the capabilities to keep her Sharingan active for really long times. I feel as though, like, if she was in a battle and she was prolonged using her Sharingan, she would wear thin. And that's something that we saw back in a previous filler arc when we seen Sarada in a Boruto and they was protecting the other village and shit like that. And then, you know, Konohamaru showed off his flashy ass Rasengan and shit like that when they first did their like team formation attack and shit. You know, you saw her get really tired and talk about, I can't get close to him, and, you know, I only have a short amount of time with my Sharingan and shit like that, because she doesn't have high ranges of stamina. And you saw like her senseis talking about it as well. So I feel like the same case goes for Boruto, and that's probably the main reason why Boruto can't completely manifest the Jougan right away, or won't be able to use it. So I feel as though like the Karma Seal is going to be something that aids him to that, because once he figure out how to completely access the Karma Seal and completely use it, and if he's absorbing ninjutsu, he's going to be able to take in a lot more power. He's going to be able to take in a lot more chakra. It's almost like he's taking in nature chakra, but he's taking it directly from another person. It's like he's an ultimate battery source, you know what I'm saying? So this is basically the Jougan's ability theory right here that I saw on Reddit. I was sent this by a viewer on Twitter. The Jougan basically has the ability to read seals and assess the abilities that the seal grants the user. A simple way to understand a seal is that it is basically like a chakra barcode. A seal is like a complex code that stores chakra and control how much chakra is released to perform whatever technique the seal contains. So in a way, the Katatsuki's wrist thing, aka the scientific ninja tool, it seals it and stores away other scrolls and effortlessly allow the users to use them and use the seal techniques by doing all of the chakra control for him. In the wriststand case, it stores a specific ninjutsu like Futon, Katun, Rasengan, Shadow Possession, etc, etc, etc. And basically what it does is it redistributes that. Now the Jougan can read these barcodes and can assess each property of the seal. Now if you look at Sumire's case, Sumire was given the Goza Tenno by her dad, which was an attempt to recreate the ability to absorb chakra like the Karma Seal and explode. Boruto was able to read the Goza Tensei, and that gave him the ability to summon a Nue and teleport to the Nue's dimension. And that is something that is very important and very vital. Now when you see this theory, it makes a lot of sense. Like a lot of people obviously, they give their personal thoughts and personal opinions about it, and they go against it, or they say what they have to say in terms of it, or they contribute to it, or they just write it off to the side. But if you think about it, this makes complete sense. Nobody ever knew why Boruto was able to completely assess the motherfucking Nue's like summoning. He summoned the Nue himself. He didn't have the help from Sumire. A lot of people like to argue that Boruto, didn't summon the Nue. Sumire did it basically. But if you guys look, Boruto bit his finger. He basically made the contract and he summoned the Nue himself. Now, if you guys think about it, Boruto was also the only other person to see those chakra marks and see the chakra that was placed onto another person. So if you think about it in this lighting, maybe Sumire was putting different seals on people and allowing herself to be that person that gives them that chakra. Maybe it wasn't necessarily a complete chakra possession. A lot of us thought that the chakra was like some type of dark chakra that was going in and possessing people, but maybe she was putting on like some type of seal. Was she basically putting on like this baby curse mark would allow them to get put under the Nue seal and shit like that? But the fact that Boruto was able to summon a Nue seal as well as summon a Nue as well as open the dimension to the Nue basically shows that maybe the Jougan can read different seals and allow Boruto to activate and use all of their functions to the maximum potential, like a barcode, almost as if it's a scanner. Now when you think about all the things that we have read and everything that I've talked about in terms of Boruto and like how he is and how like this basically plays a role, this makes very much sense for the author to give Boruto the Jougan, because the Jougan is the ability to read different seals and activate them subconsciously without actually knowing the seal. And his eye is basically reading and scanning it like it's a barcode. It essentially reminds me of the Rinnegan. The Rinnegan can decipher code, and a lot of the codes that were used by Kaguya and the same codes that was put on the tablet, I feel as though they was encoded by chakra. They weren't necessarily just written out just to be there. Now you guys can probably argue that the stone tablet that Black Zetsu left behind for Madara to read was essentially like just carvings and shit like that. But if you guys look at the code that Kaguya left behind in that scroll, people had to decipher that with different types of technology, and this man Sasuke had to try to decipher it with his Rinnegan, and he even had trouble because it was a different type of code. But if Boruto was able to look at it, maybe Boruto can decipher it due to the chakra encodings in it, because who the fuck saying Kaguya's out here writing with a pencil and a paper or using some type of ink to leave behind markings? You know what I'm saying? I don't think Kaguya would do that. I feel like Kaguya would just place her chakra onto something and that would be it. That would be the information that was left behind. Now with Boruto's case, him having the Jougan as well as having the Karma Seal, this will allow him to basically read everything about like his seal, and he'll be able to activate it further. And I feel as though this was something that Toneri was thinking about. Toneri thought that Boruto wasn't ready. I feel like at some point or another, Toneri was really ready to sacrifice his life to Boruto in order to get Boruto a seal or a Karma Seal from him. Now what happens in the future, we don't know. Maybe Toneri will sacrifice his life after coming back from the 10,000 year Dragon Palace and giving that power to Boruto, which allows him to further progress the Jougan as well as completely activate the Karma Seal due to the barcode readings of the Jougan. Now I'm not completely sure and I'm not 100% sold by this idea, but at the same token, this would make a lot of sense to why Boruto was able to summon a Nue as well as activate the Nue's dimensional door and go in there basically with Mitsuki and go after Sumire, because this would make more sense, you know what I'm saying? And on top of Boruto being around Sumire every day, Boruto probably wasn't looking at her directly, but his eye was subconsciously picking up the seal that she had on her back, and essentially that was allowing him to read the chakra of the people who was corrupted. So it might not necessarily be that she was putting baby curse marks on people. It may be the fact that Boruto was just looking at her back and not knowing that she had a seal, but the Jougan knowing was subconsciously scanning that barcode and allowing him to see the actions and the things that she was doing, which allowed him to summon a Nue and open the door, like I said. So we don't really know, but I feel as though like the Karma Seal and the Jougan go hand in hand, and the best way to open up this door or open up the next possible power level for Boruto was be for him to actually manifest and mature his Jougan, because once the Jougan is completed, the Karma Seal will be even further extended. So let me know your your personal thoughts and your personal opinions on this theory. Let me know how you feel about that. If you guys would like to go to the Reddit, I left the Reddit in the comment section below, as well as the description. And with that being said, my name is ShinoBeenTrill. Stay true and stay real. And until next time, see you guys later. Bye.